Now on Coast TV News.
Good Wednesday morning, Delmarva. Wind chills are in the teens, tracking a few flurries. We're counting down the final hours of the year. I'll have your latest New Year's Eve forecast as well as a blustery start to the new year.
Warmth from winter's chill. We look at how the Delaware Department of Health and Social Services is helping those who are struggling during these cold conditions.
Plus, board budget boundaries. What changes to Delaware's hospital budget oversight are getting reviewed in the General Assembly.
Goodbye 2025. How people on Delmarva plan to ring in the new year.
This is Coast TV News Today.
And you are looking live at the iconic Times Square in New York City. It's the epicenter of New Year's Eve celebrations in the United States. Crowds will build there throughout the day in anticipation of the ball drop at midnight.
And here on Delmarva, the epicenter of our New Year's Eve along the Delaware coast, Dewey Beach, one of Matt's favorite haunts. Several options for people to ring in 2026, all with a 3 to 4 block stretch.
Yeah, Grace, and that is how we begin Wednesday, December 31st, 2025. Good morning, I'm Matt Pensick.
Good morning, Matt. I'm Grace Eckerly. Thank you for being up with us and joining us for our last newscast of 2025.
Yeah, we have arrived at the end of 2025.
This is huge. We are saying that it's been such an eventful year, and we're very excited here in the studio today. We're excited for a new year of new beginnings, new adventures. It's going to be a great 2026.
I'm going glass half full for 2026. I got a guy who is always positive, despite what the conditions are, good or bad. We're going to go to First Alert meteorologist Chris Mastrobono. He's live in the Weather Center. Good morning, Chris.
Morning, Matt and Grace. Yes, a happy New Year's Eve to you all. We're seeing a few flurries out there this morning on the light side. Not going to amount to much, but don't be surprised if you see a few snowflakes across Cambridge, Easton, Robbins, Bishop's Head, and this area is moving across the peninsula through the morning, at least for the next hour or two. The other thing is the air mass is very dry, so a lot of this is having a hard time reaching the surface. 28 degrees right now in Ocean City. Temperatures right now are in the mid to upper 20s. We're at 26 in Long Neck. Now the winds aren't nearly as strong as they've been in recent days. We're gusting anywhere between about 10 to 20 miles an hour, but the wind chills are in the teens. Feels like 18 in Rehoboth, 18 Salisbury, 17 in Harrington. So a cold start to our New Year's Eve, but a pleasant afternoon, partly cloudy skies. We'll top out in the upper 30s to right around the 40-degree mark across parts of the peninsula. Winds will gust upwards of 20-25 miles an hour, but overall a pleasant end to the year, and it's going to be a blustery, cold start to 2026. We'll talk more about that, plus your New Year's Eve planner, coming up here in minutes.
Thank you, Chris. And our top story this hour are those cold temperatures Chris just mentioned.
Coast TV News reporter Elisa Weber is live in Georgetown. And Elisa, this is where one of several warming centers will open to keep people safe during these brutal temperatures.
Good morning, Matt and Grace. I am at the Adams State Service Center in Georgetown, where one of those warming centers will open this morning at 9 a.m. and it will remain open until 4 p.m. this evening. And according to the Delaware Department of Health and Social Services, these stations are going to be open across the state. People should not hesitate to visit if they are in need. In addition to these centers, all Code Purple shelters are open to provide emergency nighttime housing for the homeless through March 15th. Both Code Purple at the Cape and Code Purple Sussex County open regardless of the temperature. And again, the warming station here at the Adams State Service Center opens in just a few hours at 9 a.m. Back to you.
Lisa Weber live in Georgetown. Thank you for that. Developing news on Tuesday, a federal judge dismissed a lawsuit seeking to block or delay Delaware's medical aid in dying law. This would give terminally ill adults with 6 months or less to live the option to receive a lethal dose of medication. The law was signed by Governor Matt Meyer earlier this year. There was a lawsuit challenging medical aid in dying, with opponents seeking a temporary restraining order. The judge's decision clears the way for the measure to take effect on Thursday, New Year's Day.
Some people might take it just because of the availability of it, and just because sometimes people are made to feel that they're a burden on their family from their disability, or that they're not of value.
My sister died a horrific death of cancer, and she lived in a different state, which did not offer medical aid in dying. Had medical aid in dying been available to her in a state. She could have died with dignity and peace, no suffering.
And while the lawsuit was dismissed, the plaintiffs say they plan to file an appeal as soon as possible.
Officials say there are safeguards included in medical aid and dying law. Here's what they are. 2 doctors must confirm the patient is terminally ill, has 6 months or less to live, and can make the decision. The patient also must submit a written request witnessed by 2 people and can change their mind at any time. Doctors have to make sure this choice is voluntary. There's also a 48-hour waiting period after the request.
New this morning, the Starboard in Dewey Beach says it will host a fundraiser for Corporal Matthew Ty Snook. It was last week that Snook was shot and killed while working overtime at a Wilmington DMV. According to organizers, this fundraiser is set for January 8th. The restaurant says all proceeds will go directly to the Snook family. And for more information on this fundraiser and others for Corporal Snook, you can head to our website, CoastTV.com.
Hours-long lines of cars and people stretched outside Delaware DMV offices this week. All DMV locations had been closed since that shooting. And while Wilmington locations remained closed with no reopening date, the other 3 offices reopened this week, increasing wait times and crowding at reopened offices.
There is still a lot of people here in Delaware that need stuff done. So even if they do need to bring in short-term people for just a few weeks, might as well try at least, because I don't think this is going to stop anytime this week. It's going to be like this for a while.
DelDOT leaders are urging drivers to be patient and, if possible, to wait. All DMV late fees are being waived through the end of January 2026.
And the Delaware State Police say people who left cars or personal property at that Wilmington DMV during that incident can now start the process of getting it back. To arrange pickup, contact the Delaware State Police, and according to State Police, some property may still be restricted due to the ongoing investigation.
This just in, the Delaware General Assembly is making some tweaks to the law that created the Diamond State Hospital Cost Review Board. That was a big issue with hospitals under the law that was passed in 2024. The board would have, in some cases, to approve or change hospital budgets. It prompted a lawsuit by Christiana Care, and on Tuesday, Senate Bill 213 was introduced. While there are still a number of requirements for hospitals, the act does remove the board's authority to change budgets and is now getting reviewed in the Senate's Executive Committee.
Happening tonight, celebrating New Year's Eve, Dewey Beach style. The town is bringing back its Orange Crush Drop. Delaware's official cocktail will ring in the new year. Organizers say it's taking place on Route 1 in New Orleans Avenue, and that starts at 11:30 p.m.
And tonight in Lewis, people can ring in the new year with the annual Anchor Drop at Lightship Overfalls. Organizers say the festivities include food and singing, and there are actually 2 drops tonight. The first one is the family-friendly drop at 7 p.m., and that second anchor is scheduled to drop at midnight.
Ocean City plans to bring the new year in with a bang. People can watch fireworks light the night sky in celebration of 2026. According to the town, this is at 2 locations: on the beach near Dorchester Street, also at Northside Park. Now, the Northside Park, that one will have music from 10 p.m. to midnight, with fireworks taking off at both locations at midnight.
And if you go to those Ocean City happenings, the beach bus will be free on New Year's Eve. According to the town, service begins today at 6 a.m. and will run until 3 a.m. Thursday, January 1st. Buses will arrive about every 30 minutes. That's during the day. Then starting at 6 p.m., they'll be every 15 minutes through the early morning hours.
And some things to know if you are planning your New Year's Eve fun. The Delaware Office of Highway Safety is bringing back the Sober Rides program. The Don't Drop the Ball campaign means you can get a $20 voucher for Lyft and Uber. Vouchers are redeemable from 5 p.m. tonight to 3 a.m. New Year's Day, and Delawareans can visit mysoberrides.com to get those vouchers. New overnight, President Trump acknowledging a U.S. strike inside Venezuela, saying there was a big explosion in a dock area and claiming that that's where the drugs were being loaded on the boats.
But no part of the U.S. government has offered additional details on the strike. As NBC's Bianca Ficini shows us, it would be the first potential land strike in the conflict as the Trump administration increases pressure on the Maduro regime.
Members of Congress demanding answers from President Trump after he announced a land-based strike on Venezuela.
I consider that a military act and a potential act of war, and the president needs to be talking to the Congress.
The president said the strike targeted a docking facility used by boats carrying drugs.
They load the boats up with drugs, so we hit all the boats, and now we hit the area. It's the implementation area. That's where they implement, and that is no longer around.
It's the latest move carried out by the U.S. against Venezuela since September, when the Trump administration started launching strikes against Venezuelan boats that they say were trafficking drugs. But this strike is making members in both parties concerned.
They've been very clear about targeting these drug boats, so we have clear information there. But threatening Venezuela itself, they've been very cryptic and very, I would say, unclear with what they're trying to do there.
The Venezuelan government has yet to comment on the land strike, but President Trump says he spoke with President Nicolas Maduro recently without elaborating much.
I spoke to him recently, pretty recently. But nothing much comes of it.
It remains unclear if anyone in Congress was notified ahead of time, but since this move was carried out by the CIA as opposed to the military, the administration did not seek permission from Congress to conduct it. In Washington, Bianca Ficini, NBC News.
Rehoboth Beach's government is updating the meeting format starting in 2026. Officials say regular meetings will continue on the third Friday of each month. Workshop meetings, normally held on Mondays, are getting renamed commissioners' meetings and may include votes if listed on the agenda. That change begins with the January 5th, 2026 meeting. Also new this morning, beginning Monday, Ocean City will upgrade water meters. All residential and commercial water meters are getting converted to an automatic meter reading system. Town officials say the electronic reading of new system allows water to improve should improve the accuracy. The completion is expected by April of 2026.
And we're just getting started here on this hour of Coast TV News Today.
Yeah, coming up on Coast TV News Today, fundraising for ice rink, how people in Georgetown are seeking help from the state for a new facility.
And a Velo flight fight. We'll tell you why Delaware Governor Matt Meyer says he and his wife decided against flying a Velo Airlines.
Still ahead, the Pumpkin Chunkin'. No, the Sussex County tradition isn't back, but a new grant from organizers is. We'll tell you what that means. And there is First Alert meteorologist Chris Mastrobono in the Weather Center. Look at him crunching those numbers on some cold temperatures. We check in with him next.
Good Wednesday morning, Delmarva, as we take a look back on some of the more notable weather occurrences we had back in 2025. 101 degrees was our hottest temperature back in June. And remember, we hit triple digits 2 straight days in a row. Our coldest temperature was 6 back in January. And then we had our snowiest stretch in early January. We picked up over a foot of snow throughout Sussex County. The wettest month was September. And we also had 2 confirmed tornadoes in Sussex County, that Bethel tornado back in May, and then that brief unwarned tornado along in Frankfort, Delaware back in June. And we ended the year, the last 5 months of the year, below normal as far as the months are concerned. We'll look ahead to 2026 coming up here in a little bit.
The Greater Lewis Foundation announces a new grant created by the managers of the Pumpkin Chunkin' organization to support open space projects. This new fund will make annual grants up to $10,000 to support open space preservation and public use in Sussex County. Pumpkin Chunkin' was a long-time tradition in western Sussex County where people catapulted pumpkins from homemade contraptions. There's some of them right there. Now, it was put on hiatus after a serious injury led to a lawsuit before eventually moving out of Delaware and then paused altogether.
If you're having a rough week, you can cheer up with a weekly dose of local good news from Coast TV with personal features, fun things to do each weekend, and more. You can sign up now for free at coasttv.com/sign up to get your weekly dose of joy directly to your inbox on Friday.
Well, some of us are waking up to some flurries this morning on the peninsula, at least for the next hour or two. Otherwise, it's going to be a pleasant cold end of the year. And blustery cold start to 2026. We'll break down your latest New Year's Eve forecast when Coast TV News Today continues.
Time is 5:19, and you are looking live at Ocean City. We're expecting fireworks later tonight in the town. And Chris, heard you mention flurries. It certainly feels cold enough for that right now.
Without question, we have an area of some light snow pushing over the peninsula this morning. You'll see that here shortly as we take a live look into Salisbury. 27 degrees, so certainly cold enough for some snow. And you can see some light moisture across portions of the mid-shore, and primarily across Cambridge through Blackwater down to Nanticoke into Crisfield. The ground is plenty cold. This is very light, so you can pick up a brief little dusting here across these areas over the next hour or two, so keep an eye on that. But this is going to be passing through here over the morning, a little short wave that's moving across the mid-Atlantic. Other than that, we're going to be pretty dry through the day today. We're at 27 in Milton, 26 in Long Neck. We're at 26 as well in Ocean Pines. Now the winds, not nearly as windy as we've been over the recent days. We're still seeing some gusts anywhere between about 10 to 20 miles an hour. Wind chills feels like 18 in Gunboro, feels like 17 in Rehoboth, and it feels like 18 in Ocean City. So a cold start to our day, to say the least. And we're going to begin the year on a cold note. That's really going to be the theme here as we roll into 2026, and keeping it mainly dry. Highs today are going to be generally around 37 to 42 across the peninsula, 38 Denton, 40 Vienna. I think some of us across the mid-shore here just grazed the 40-degree mark through the afternoon. So we clear the flurries out, the clouds in the morning. Partly cloudy skies through the afternoon. We'll get into those upper 30s. Then we'll see a few more clouds, and then another round of some possible flurries move in late tonight through early tomorrow morning as another short wave pushes through the region. Tomorrow for our New Year's Day, looking much more blustery with temperatures back in the mid-30s. So there's those wind gusts this afternoon, anywhere between about 20 to 25 miles an hour. As we go into our New Year's Day, a little higher. We'll see some gusts upwards of 30, 35 miles an hour. So your New Year's Eve plans looking very nice. Dry conditions will fall into the upper 20s to lower 30s, and then those temperatures will slowly rise through the overnight. Now, the wind chills are going to be the story as well. Wind chills in the teens tomorrow morning, and then by Friday morning, the lowest we've seen so far, we'll see some areas feeling as low as 12 in Rehoboth. For our New Year's Day, dry, cold, blustery, 36 degrees under mostly sunny skies after that early flurry chance. We're dry into Friday. Watching a system late Saturday night, primarily to our south, but could graze the southern end of the peninsula. But I think most of the area stays dry, but just cloudy. We're having a temperature of 40 degrees for our Friday. Mostly sunny skies. Will be mostly cloudy into Saturday, 37. Sunny skies for the day on Sunday, 38. And then we'll rise back up into the lower 40s by Monday.
Since day one, Avelo has been very popular with folks looking for cheap flights and easy parking for their trips out of Delaware. But in the last few months, protesters have sometimes lined Route 13. Governor Matt Meyer and some state lawmakers are not happy that Avelo signed on to help ICE with deportation flights out of the country. While no deportation flights have come out of Delaware yet, they do worry that some of the people on the planes are being deported without a judicial warrant and due process.
And I made very clear to the public that I, who was quite frankly pretty eager to particularly take that Puerto Rican flight on Avelo, that my wife and I decided we were not going to take Avelo.
And the General Assembly is considering legislation that would put some restrictions on Avelo.
Up next on Coast TV News Today, fundraising for Ice Rink. What the Georgetown mayor is saying about people coming together to raise money for the project. We'll be right back. Fundraising efforts are building for a new ice skating complex in Georgetown. The Miracle Ice Arena hopes to bring 2 rinks off Route 113. The effort comes after the Center Ice Arena closed in Harrington earlier this year. Organizers say to bring a state-of-the-art facility to the area, they need $20 million. Project leaders say they have signed a letter of intent for the land and are applying now for grants. According to them, bringing a rink to this area would be a game changer for athletes of all ages.
In Harrington, we had players coming all the way from Ocean City, Maryland for 7 a.m. practices. This is right in the middle. It's right close to the beach. We've seen the model. We know that, you know, from different baseball facilities and soccer fields and stuff like this, it's a proven concept what a hot spot this area is.
And Georgetown's Mayor Bill West says the project would be a great economic driver for the town. The town has sent a letter to the state hoping to help secure funding for the project.
That is certainly good news. We'd like to see more ice rinks down here in southern Delaware as we take a live look into Ocean City, 28 degrees, and we are dealing with some flurries across the southwestern portion of the peninsula, but really a beautiful New Year's Eve afternoon. Temperatures getting into the upper 30s, and it will be a bit breezy at times after some clouds this morning. We'll get up into the upper 30s through Lewis. Cambridge, we're dealing with some snow showers this morning through Crisfield, but we are expecting mostly sunny skies through the afternoon today. Congratulations to Neil Newhouse of Bethany Beach, Delaware, on winning an umbrella from Coast TV. And our Coast TV First Alert weather phone is always on for your latest forecast. Your New Year's Eve forecast coming up in our next half hour.
And after the break on Coast TV News Today, navigating New Year's Eve, we'll tell you where to celebrate across Delmarva.
Also, opinions over medical aid in dying. The perspectives from both sides of the issue as that option begins in Delaware tomorrow.
And where to warm up. We'll tell you about some locations across Delaware that offer help for the homeless bracing the cold weather. Coast TV News Today returns after the break.
Now on Coast TV News.
Warmth from winter's chill, we look at how the Delaware Department of Health and Social Services is helping those who are struggling during these cold conditions.
Good Wednesday morning, Delmarva. Wind chills are in the teens, tracking a few flurries. We're counting down the final hours of the year. I'll have your latest New Year's Eve forecast as well as a blustery start to the new year.
Dying debate continues.
It's not a law that you can remedy or take back later or fix it.
The decision by a U.S. district judge in Delaware and what it means for the law that has created controversy.
Nature's New Year, the opportunity to explore one of the coast's scenic spots on Thursday.
This is Coast TV News Today.
Giving you a live look into New York City this morning, the Statue of Liberty glowing there. A lot of people making their way to the city to see the ball drop in just a few hours. Matt,
yeah,
it's an exciting day there.
Yeah, let's go from New York City to Ocean City. Here's a look high above Coastal Highway, and we know there are plenty of places along this stretch where people will say goodbye to 2025 and hello to 2026. It's December 31st, 2025. Good morning, everybody. I'm Matt Pensick. Good morning, Grace.
Good morning, Matt. I'm Grace Eckerly. Thank you for being up with us.
5:31 a.m. as we do get ready for the new year.
Yes, and I asked Matt, I said, I want to know, what's one word you would like to describe your 2026?
I'm going optimistic.
That's beautiful. I like that. That's a good look ahead, an optimistic 2026. I know me, myself, and I'm optimistic for some snow flurries in today's forecast. I heard from a little birdie, Chris Mastrobono. Chris, there's a possibility today. This is huge.
Good morning, Grace and Matt. Yes, we have a little impulsive energy pushing over the peninsula, and we have a little light snow, primarily across the mid-shore. We had reports of a little dusting there across Cambridge and along Route 50 there. So it's very cold. The ground's very cold and very powdery snow. So whatever flakes do fall will accumulate very lightly there, but we're not expecting any tremendous amounts of snow here, just a general light dusting across those areas as this impulsive energy passes through the area. We are at 27 in Salisbury, temperatures around 26 in Longneck, 26 in Milford, gusts anywhere between about 18 in Salisbury to 15 Indian River Inlet. So wind chills are in the teens this morning, so quite cold out there. It feels like 17 in Bethany Beach. It feels like 18 in Seaford. So we're going to get those temperatures up into the mid-30s, mid to upper 30s, some of us touching the 40-degree mark, and then we'll fall into the lower 30s through this evening. So any New Year's Eve plans looking very nice but cold. So make sure you dress warm if you're heading out for any of those festivities. We'll talk about your New Year's Day and a look ahead at those first few days of the new year coming up.
Thank you, Chris. And our top story this half hour is those cold temperatures that Chris just mentioned.
Yeah, we have our Elisa Weber in Georgetown where there is a warming center set to open. This is to help people during these cold temperatures. Good morning, Elisa.
Good morning, Matt and Grace. I am at the Adams State Service Center in Georgetown, where that warming center will open in just a few hours at 9 a.m. and it will remain open until 4 p.m. this evening. And according to the Delaware Department of Health and Social Services, there are warming stations like this one across the entire state, and people should not hesitate to visit if they are in need. In addition to these centers, all Code Purple shelters are open to provide emergency nighttime housing for the homeless through March 15th. Both Code Purple at the Cape and Code Purple Sussex County open regardless of the temperature. But if these centers can only open if enough volunteers are present to help.
If you are willing to give up at least one night in your own bed, you could be keeping up to 14 people out of the cold for another night. Gives them another opportunity to go to job interviews, go to different, job fairs, and just kind of have more opportunities to move forward and literally saving lives.
And the warming center here at the Adams State Service Center in Georgetown will open in just a few hours at 9 a.m. Back to you.
Lisa Weber with that live report. Thank you for that. The End of Life Options Act, or medical aid in dying, gives terminally ill adults with 6 months or less to live the option to receive a lethal dose of medication. Now, this law was signed by Governor Matt Meyer earlier this year. It will take effect officially tomorrow, January 1st. There was a lawsuit challenging medical aid in dying that hoped to stop this law.
And a group of plaintiffs were hoping if they couldn't stop the law, they could at least delay the rollout. A district court judge won't hear their arguments. Medical aid in dying, or some call it assisted suicide, has stirred controversy for nearly 10 years, and the debate is still passionate.
Doctor doesn't have to be real.
This is Denise McMullen Powell. She has post-polio syndrome and has spent most of her life using a wheelchair. McMullen Powell is one of the plaintiffs trying to stop Delaware's medical aid in dying law, arguing it could put vulnerable people at risk.
Some people might take it just because of the availability of it, and just because sometimes people are made to feel that they're a burden on their family from their disability, or that they're not of value, or that it's going to cost too much to make you better or to preserve your life.
Tuesday, a district court judge dismissed the case entirely, siding with the national nonprofit Compassion and Choices, which intervened in the case. Vicki George is one of the people that group represents.
I'm so excited. I'm so relieved. I'm so relieved that the courts saw it the same way.
George also navigates life in a wheelchair and says her support for medical aid in dying comes from personal experience.
My sister died a horrific death of cancer, and she lived in a different state, which did not offer medical aid in dying. She didn't allow her family to see her because she was in so much pain. So my mom was denied the opportunity to see her child. No one should go through that. Had medical aid in dying been available to her in a state, she could have died with dignity and peace, no suffering.
But McMullen Powell questions if doctors will make decisions carelessly. And she worries that inaccessible and unaffordable health care could pressure people into a decision.
It is a fight for our lives, because it's not a law that you can remedy or take back later or fix it. When you're dead, you're dead.
George, however, says the law protects patients and gives them dignity in death.
If anybody were to take a look at the bill, they would know that everything is in there to safeguard everybody in any situation that came up during the last 10 years.
Two women, both passionate about life but divided over the right to die. For CoastTV News, I'm Christina DeRobertis.
And while the lawsuit was dismissed, the plaintiffs say they plan to file an appeal as soon as possible. But for now, people are able to start the process tomorrow. We do have an update on the fallout from the shooting death of Delaware State Police Corporal Matthew Snook. Delaware State Police say people who left cars or personal property at the Wilmington DMV during that incident can now start the process of getting it back. To arrange pickup, contact the Delaware State Police. They say further instructions will be given. State Police say that some property may still be restricted due to the ongoing investigation.
Happening tonight, celebrations for New Year's Eve, Dewey Beach style. The town is bringing back its Orange Crush Drop. Delaware's official cocktail will ring in the new year. Organizers say it's taking place on Route 1 in New Orleans Ave, starting at 11:30 p.m.
Tonight in Lewis, people can ring in the new year with the annual anchor drop at the lightship over falls. Organizers say the festivities include food and singing. There are actually 2 drops tonight. First one is a family-friendly one. That's at 7 p.m. The second anchor is scheduled to drop at midnight.
New this morning, Assateague Island National Seashore inviting the public to hit the trails on New Year's Day. The park is hosting 2 guided hikes led by rangers. The first will explore the natural forces that continue to shape Assateague Island, and the second hike focuses on how people have interacted with the island throughout history. Each hike is about 1 mile long.
Yeah, similar situation for Maryland State Parks. Now until January 2nd, they are offering free first day hikes. For 2026, hikers can choose from 3 options. Ranger-led hikes will have set start times with some requiring pre-registration. Self-guided hikes are available all weekend on marked trails. And new this year, hikers can use the All Trails app to navigate selected routes and share their experience.
The Lewis Junction Railroad and Bridge Association inviting the community to help bring in Lewis 250. That's commemoration of America's 250 years on New Year's Day. Starting at 10 a.m., the historic steam engine bell will be rung at the Lewis Junction. That's next to the Lewis Public Library, and adults can ring the bell for $5 to support restoration efforts, while children can ring it for free.
New this morning, as families get ready to ring in the new year, doctors at Johns Hopkins Children's Center are reminding everyone to celebrate smart and stay safe. Burn risks from stoves and space heaters increase this time of year, so parents are encouraged to keep children far away. Doctors say parents should talk with their children about the dangers of underage drinking. Doctors are reminding people to never drive if impaired or too tired.
And in Ocean City, the beach bus will be free on New Year's Eve. According to the town, service begins today at 6 a.m. and will run until 3 a.m. Thursday, January 1st. Buses will arrive about every 30 minutes during the day, then every 15 minutes starting at 6 p.m. through the early morning hours.
Things to know as you're planning your New Year's Eve fun. The Delaware Office of Highway Safety is bringing back the Sober Rides program for New Year's Eve. The Don't Drop the Ball campaign means you can get a $20 voucher for Lyft and Uber. Vouchers are redeemable from 5 tonight to 3 a.m. New Year's Day, and Delawareans can visit mysoberrides.com to get those vouchers.
New overnight, some congressional lawmakers are demanding answers after President Trump acknowledged a U.S. strike inside Venezuela. The president saying Monday the U.S. hit a big facility and there was a major explosion in a dock area, claiming that's where drugs were being loaded onto the boats. The Venezuelan government has yet to comment on the land strike, but President Trump says he spoke with President Nicolas Maduro recently.
And we have a lot more news to get to. Don't go anywhere.
Coming up, heading out on New Year's Eve, we've got your cool things to do.
And we have the bi-state battle that took place on the final day of the Governor's Challenge at the Wicomico Civic Center. We'll be right back.
We salute Chief Ralph W. Holm Jr. Chief Holm leads the Georgetown Police Department with a deep commitment to community partnership and service. Under his leadership, the department is dedicated to serving the diverse Georgetown community with fairness and empathy. He focuses on training officers not only in law enforcement techniques, but also in engaging positively with residents, especially the youth. His philosophy, in service to our community, reflects a guiding principle of inclusivity and protection for all who live in or visit Georgetown. Chief Holm's leadership continues to strengthen the bond between the police and the community, ensuring safety and mutual respect.
Spicer Brothers and CoastTV are honoring military persons and first responders serving Delmarva. If you have a family member, friend, or community member that you would like to nominate for a CoastTV salute, go to coasttvsalutes.com.
Hope your Wednesday morning is off to a great start, Delmarva, as we count down the final hours of the year. Salisbury coming in at 27 degrees, and we're seeing some snow flurries and even a light snow across the area, primarily across the eastern shore. We've had reports of up to a dusting across portions of Route 50 through Cambridge. So this light snow is going to continue to pivot through the area. The ground is very cold, so anything that falls is going to stick. We're feeling like 16 degrees in Cambridge, 17 in Bethany Beach, but the good news is we're going to see plenty of sunshine after a few morning snow showers. We're going to see partly cloudy skies through the day. We'll get up into the upper 30s to near 40 across the eastern shore, and we are looking pretty nice as we ring in 2026. We'll talk more about that forecast ahead. Your full 7 to 8 in minutes.
Thank you, Chris. New this morning, the Maryland Department of Transportation State Highway Administration will begin rehabilitation work on the US 50 bridge on Monday, January 5th. You can see that area right here on your screen now. Officials say the drivers can expect daytime single lane closures from January 5th through January 20th. A full bridge closure and detour will then be in place from January 20th through February 3rd, and the project is expected to be completed by March 20th.
The final night of the Governor's Challenge featured a hotly contested local battle between Cambridge South Dorchester out of the Bayside Conference and Woodbridge out of the Henlopen. And the Blue Raiders, well, they skated by with a 61-60 win and improved to 2-0 in Gov Challenge. They got a monster performance from Cameron DeShields, who had a game-high 22 points off an efficient 10 of 15 shooting to pair with 7 rebounds, and his co-star was Tayshawn Conaway-Williams with 11 points and 7 rebounds of his own. Woodbridge, they really had to prove their might in this game because in their first game of the Governor's Challenge, they cruised by the Mardello Warriors by 25 points. This time around, they got a really good test from CSD, who had 3 players in double figures, including Kamarion Hall with an 18-point, 13-rebound double-double, Samaj Pinder putting up 17 points and 7 boards, and then football star Sterling Perkins using that big frame of his to score 14 points as well. So a great battle between the Vikings and the Raiders. That's all I've got for you, Delmarva. Have a great morning.
And coming up tonight on DSN, you can relive some of the action from this year's Governor's Challenge at 8 p.m. J.H. Blake takes on Coatesville, and at 10, Roman Catholic battles Wasatch Academy. And time to showcase how you are decorating your homes this holiday season. And today's holiday house picture is coming from Dave and Donna in Longneck. Look at this. What an effort it must have taken to get this very beautiful and bright display in their yard.
My goodness, props to you, David and Donna, for this incredible display. And thank you for sending us your photo, and thank you to everyone who sent us their photos this holiday season. And we appreciate them very much. If you'd like to send your festive decorations, there's still a little bit of time left to share them in our broadcast. Take a look at your screen now and send in your photos by heading to our website, coasttv.com/holidayhouse. The time is now 5:50 a.m. as we're taking a live look out into Salisbury. And Chris, you are the shining star today. Can we just take a moment? Let's look at this tie. You're glittering, you're shiny. You are the New Year's Eve ball, Chris.
Well, thank you, Grace. I just felt like this was the most appropriate tie to wear today in the wardrobe there as we take a live look into Ocean City. Cold, dry start there, 28 degrees, and we have some light snow, some snow flurries pushing over the peninsula at this hour. We have a little dusting there across Cambridge and then along the eastern shore. Not going to amount to much, but the ground is very cold, and whatever powdery snow does fall will lightly accumulate in those areas, but we're only expecting this here over the next hour or two. Overall, as this weak disturbance passes through the mid-Atlantic, we're looking at a really nice day ahead as temperatures get up into the upper 30s. We're at 27 in Rehoboth Beach, 28 Milton, 25 Bridgeville. Wind gusts are upwards of 20, Millsboro 17 Indian River Inlet. So those wind chills are primarily in the teens this morning. It feels like 18 in Salisbury. It feels like 17 in Rehoboth. So a very cold start to the day. We'll get up into the upper 30s, some of us touching the 40-degree mark, especially across across the eastern shore. Wind chills generally in the upper 20s to lower 30s through the afternoon. So we shed those snow showers out through the afternoon, looking very nice under partly cloudy skies. More clouds will increase overnight and through early tomorrow morning as another front pushes through the area. This could bring another round of some flurries through the area. And then we're looking at a blustery start to the new year as mostly sunny skies develop through our afternoon for our New Year's Day. There's those wind gusts today, anywhere from about 20 to 25 miles an hour. More blustery as we go into the day tomorrow. So for your New Year's Eve planner, looking very nice, mostly clear skies, and then we'll be partly to mostly cloudy overnight as we ring in the new year. Feeling like the teens come tomorrow morning, and then as well as Friday morning as well. So we have a couple more rounds of very cold conditions to get through. So there's those possible flurries tomorrow morning. Otherwise, it's a mainly dry New Year's Day with some gusts upwards of 30 miles an hour. Watching a system over the weekend to our south could graze the southern fringes of the peninsula, but other than that, we stay pretty dry and really uneventful through the weekend as temperatures will rise back into the upper 30s. More clouds than sun Saturday as that system passes to our south. 38 Sunday, mostly sunny skies, and we'll see seasonable temperatures as we start the early part of next week as we get back up into the lower to mid 40s. Grace.
Thank you, Chris. And pops of fireworks, not the only thing lighting up New Year's Eve.
Yeah, Christina D. Robertus has your cool things to do to ring in 2026.
Let me tell you, Delmarva has some of the most unique New Year's traditions. Starting in Lewis, the Overfalls Foundation is hosting its annual Anchor Drop, a family-friendly version at 7, and then later, a lighted anchor will descend from the ship's mast as the crowd counts down to midnight. Over in Dewey Beach, the Crush Drop honors Delaware's official state drink. You can watch the iconic Orange Crush lower at Oceanside, New Orleans Street. Chincoteague has the Pony Island Horseshoe Drop, featuring a promenade of wild costumes before the horseshoe lights up the final seconds of 2025. Princess Anne is known for the Muskrat Dive, where Marshall Muskrat glides down a zip line in his signature top hat. In Easton, the celebrations include a crab drop, a classic Eastern Shore tradition, or for a more simple celebration, you can head to Ocean City for some fireworks. And for all the details, just head to CoastTV.com and click on Cool Things to Do.
Lots of exciting happenings today. Something else is exciting. Time is now 5:54. Time to check in with our coastal pet of the day.
And today's coastal pet of the day, all dressed up on your screen, that's Lene, and you can see she is squeezing what last bit of the holiday spirit she can muster before the new year. She was submitted to us by Diana in Lewis.
Matt, she almost is so perfect that she looks like a stuffed animal
a little bit.
with a little
Great
dress
pose
on.
there.
Gosh, Diana, she is gorgeous. Thank you so much for sending us this photo of your girl. And if you want to send us photos of your pets, you can take a look at your screen now.
QR code top there, scan it, get your friends to us, then watch weekdays 5 to 7 a.m. to see all the pets we feature. As we bring back First Alert meteorologist Chris Mastrobono, considering it is late, very late December, not too bad if you're ringing in the new year with some outdoor activities.
Yeah, looking pretty good tonight. We have a few snow showers and flurries making their way across the peninsula over the next hour or two. Otherwise, we're going to be partly cloudy through the afternoon. Not as windy as we've been in recent days as we ring in 2026. A blustery start to the year, 36 tomorrow. Mostly sunny skies, and then we're looking pretty dry and pleasant through the week. And then we'll bounce back up into the 40s and 50s by next Wednesday with a chance of showers. Matt.
All right, thanks, Chris. And coming up in our next hour, Coastal Celebration, we have your options on how to welcome in 2026. That and more when we continue with Coast TV News Today.